Whispers of Re, the Egyptian god's sleep blessing, the radiance of Ra's blessing. As the first rays of dawn crept across the horizon, a golden light spilled over the Nile, painting the world in hues of amber and rose. The river's surface shimmered with the warm embrace of Ra's blessing, calm, peaceful glow spreading across the land. Along the banks of the river, the soft rustling of reeds swayed gently with a morning breeze, their delicate movement whispering secrets to the earth. Amira, a humble villager, sat quietly by the water's edge. The morning sun caressed her skin, its warmth wrapping her in a tender embrace. She had come to the banks of the Nile to greet the day, as she had done many times before. The light felt different today, though softer, as if Ra himself were gently touching her soul with his golden fingers. With her feet lightly dipping into the cool waters, she closed her eyes, feeling the pulse of the river beneath her. The rhythmic flow of the Nile, moving steadily and eternal, created a soothing melody. Each gentle wave seemed to hum with the very breath of the earth. In the distance, the call of a bird echoed softly, its song blending with the rustling of the reeds. Amira breathed deeply, letting the peace of the moment fill her heart. Her hands pressed together in prayer, Amira whispered words of gratitude to Ra, the sun god. She thanked him for the light that brought warmth and life to all things, for the promise of a new day, and for the blessings that filled the world around her. The soft glow of Ra's morning light bathed her in its radiance, and she felt the warmth sink into her bones, calming her restless mind. The river's whispers became a lullaby, cradling her in their rhythm. The world felt still, the only sounds the gentle flow of the water and the soft sigh of the wind. Slowly, as her breath deepened and her body relaxed, the warmth of Ra's radiance wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. The weight of sleep began to settle over Amira, her eyelids growing heavy as she surrendered to the peaceful embrace of the morning. The sunlight danced across her vision, and in the gentle sway of the reeds, she found herself slipping into a world of dreams. With each soft, rhythmic breath, she drifted deeper into slumber, carried away by the eternal flow of the Nile and the sacred blessings of Ra. The day had begun, and with it, the promise of rest and renewal under the god's watchful gaze. Ra's evening embrace. As the sun dipped low in the sky, the land of Egypt was bathed in the soft, golden glow of its fading light. The heavens above were painted with brilliant hues of orange, purple, and crimson, as if the sky itself were a canvas touched by the hand of Ra. The river's surface reflected the majestic colors, creating a mirror image of the celestial dance above. The world held its breath in this serene moment of transition from day to night. Qatar, a weary traveler, found solace in the shadow of a great temple. The cool stone of the ancient structure provided a comforting refuge from the heat of the day, and he leaned against the temple wall, his gaze fixed on the vast, changing sky. His eyes traced the path of the sun as it sank lower, casting its final rays across the land. The warm light kissed his face, as if Ra himself were offering a blessing for the journey ahead. The evening breeze carried with it the delicate scent of desert flowers, mingling with the earthy aroma of the Nile's waters. It was a fragrance that seemed to speak of the land's ancient secrets, of the god who had once walked these sands. The air was alive with the sounds of the approaching night, the rustling of palm leaves as the wind whispered through them, and the soft murmur of the river flowing gently in the distance. Qatar closed his eyes, feeling the presence of R.A. in the very air around him. It was as if the god, in his twilight embrace, was offering not only his warmth but also a sense of peace and protection. As the coolness of the night began to settle in, he felt his body relax, sinking deeper into the stillness. The soft chants of the temple priests drifted on the evening air, their voices rising in gentle harmony, a sacred melody that seemed to reach beyond the physical world and into the very heart of the soul. The hum of their prayers wrapped around Qatar like a comforting blanket, their words of devotion blending with the soft whispers of the wind and the distant song of the river. He let the sounds wash over him, each note a reminder of the timeless blessings of Ari. The warmth of the setting sun faded, replaced by the cool embrace of night, but Qatar felt no fear, only the peaceful stillness of the moment. The temple, the river, the sky, all were part of a greater whole, and he, too, was at peace. As the stars began to twinkle in the vast expanse above, Qatar's eyelids grew heavy. He had traveled far and long, but now, in the embrace of Ra's evening light, he felt as though he had finally come home. The chants, the breeze, the whispers of the Nile, these were the lullabies of Egypt, and they cradled him in their rhythm. Slowly, his breathing deepened, and he surrendered to the tranquility of the moment. His mind, once filled with the thoughts of distant lands and travels, quieted as the warmth of Ra's presence guided him towards sleep. The dreams that would come to him were not of earthly concerns, but of ancient stories and divine light, the kind of dreams that could only be illuminated by Ra's golden touch. In the embrace of the evening, Qatar found rest, knowing that he was watched over by the god whose light never truly left, even in the deepest hours of night. The silent call of Ra's night sky. Ramos sat silently on the banks of the Nile, his small fishing boat gently rocking with the rhythm of the river. The water lapped softly against the boat's hull, a steady and calming sound that blended harmoniously with the quiet stillness of the night. The world around him was peaceful, the air cool but not cold, and the sky above was a vast, endless canvas, clear and full of shimmering stars. Each twinkle in the heavens seemed like a silent beacon, a reflection of Ra's eternal watchfulness over Egypt. As the moon rose slowly, casting a silver glow across the water, Ramos felt a deep sense of peace settle within him. He had lived his life in rhythm with the river, relying on its blessings, and tonight, as the moon bathed the land in soft light, he knew that Ra's gaze was upon him. The moonlight mirrored the god's celestial presence, the light enveloping the land in a serene embrace. The quiet sounds of the night surrounded him, the soft swish of the river's current, the rustling of distant reeds, and the occasional call of a night bird in the far distance. These sounds were as familiar as the beat of his own heart. He had heard them countless times before, but tonight they felt different, deeper, as though the river itself was singing a lullaby of ancient rhythms. Ramos closed his eyes and took a slow, steady breath. He allowed himself to sink into the warmth of Ra's celestial light, feeling the cool air and the quiet of the night blend together in perfect harmony. The gentle rocking of the boat, the rhythmic lapping of the water, and the soft glow of the moon all worked together to cradle him in a peaceful embrace. His mind, so often active with the worries of the day, quieted in the presence of the river and the eternal sky. In this tranquil moment, the whispers of R.A. seemed to drift softly through the air, guiding Ramos into a restful slumber. His thoughts faded away, replaced by dreams filled with the quiet wisdom of the Nile, the eternal gaze of the stars, and the calming presence of the god of the sun. As he drifted into sleep, the world around him felt timeless. The stars above, the moonlight reflecting on the river, and the soft sounds of the night all wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. In the stillness, Ra's blessings filled the air, and Ramos surrendered to the quiet, peaceful slumber that awaited him, knowing that the god's eternal light would guide his dreams through the night. Ra's Midnight Serenade. In the heart of a quiet village, nestled at the edge of the vast desert, Nefertari sat beside a gently flickering fire. The flames danced in the cool night air, casting a soft glow that illuminated her face and the shadows around her. The fire's crackling was a gentle rhythm, a melody that seemed to echo the heartbeat of the earth. The night was still, save for the soft sounds of the desert whispering around her, the rustling of palm leaves swaying in the breeze, and the occasional murmur of the wind moving through the dunes. The cool air carried the sweet, intoxicating scent of jasmine, its fragrance mingling with the faint, earthy aroma of the desert. Nefertari took a deep breath, letting the calming scent fill her senses, and gazed up at the vast, star-filled sky. Above her, the moon shone with a cool, silvery light, casting a gentle glow over the landscape. Ra's presence was ever constant, even in the quietest hours of the night. His rays touched the earth, bathing the village and the desert in a soft embrace of light, guiding Nefertari with a sense of peace. As she sat there, watching the stars flicker above, a deep connection to Ra began to stir within her. She felt as though she was not just a small part of the world, but a part of something much greater, a divine cycle that reached from the heavens to the earth, from the sun to the moon. The cool light of Ra's moon filled her heart with a quiet, reverent gratitude, and she whispered her thanks to the god of the sun, knowing that his blessings would carry her through the night. The fire crackled softly beside her, its warmth and light offering a comforting contrast to the coolness of the desert night. The breeze continued to rustle the palm leaves, creating a soothing rhythm that seemed to match the steady pulse of her own breathing. The serenity of the night wrapped around her like a blanket, and the peaceful sounds of the desert. The breeze, the rustling leaves, the crackling fire, formed a lullaby that lulled her deeper into relaxation. Nefertari closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the embrace of the night, and slowly her thoughts began to quiet. The divine glow of Ra's moon bathed her in light, and as her breathing deepened, sleep began to claim her. She felt the god's blessings fill her heart, his radiance seeping into her very soul. Her dreams, like threads of golden light, were woven with the divine energy of Ra, guiding her through realms of peace and tranquility. In the stillness of the desert night, under the watchful gaze of Ra's moon, Nefertari surrendered to sleep, knowing that the god's blessings would guide her dreams. The fire's gentle crackle and the soft rustling of the palm leaves were the final lullabies that carried her into a peaceful slumber, where the divine light of Ra would continue to shine. Ra's dawn of new beginnings. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, painting the world with shades of gold and amber, Young Kenneth sat at the edge of the Nile, his legs dangling just above the water's surface. The cool morning air kissed his skin, a welcome contrast to the warmth that was slowly spreading across the earth. The golden rays of Ra stretched over the land, slowly filling the world with light and life. Kenneth closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the warmth of Ra's first light on his face. It was as though the god himself was reaching down to touch him, filling him with a sense of peace and gratitude. The world around him began to stir with the soft sound of morning. The river gently lapped against the shore, the current slow and steady, as if the Nile itself was waking with the sun. The air was filled with the cheerful song of birds, their melodies soaring through the early morning sky. Kenneth breathed deeply, letting the fresh air fill his lungs, the sound of the birds and the river forming a gentle lullaby that wrapped around him like a soft blanket. He looked up at the sky, watching as the golden light of Ra's dawn spread further, chasing away the darkness and heralding the beginning of a new day. With each passing moment, the world seemed to wake, and Kenneth felt connected to the rhythm of life, as if he was a part of something much larger than himself. His heart swelled with a quiet joy, knowing that this new day was a gift, filled with endless possibilities and new beginnings. As the warm light bathed the land, Kenneth's eyelids grew heavy. The peaceful sounds of the river, the birdsong, and the soft rustling of the reeds all blended together into a symphony of serenity. With a final breath, Kenneth closed his eyes and allowed the warmth of Ra's light to wash over him. The god's blessings surrounded him, and his mind drifted into a peaceful, gentle sleep. In the quiet of the morning, with the first rays of the sun stretching across the earth, Kenneth surrendered to sleep, knowing that the dawn had brought not just light to the world, but the promise of new adventures and beginnings. The dreams that awaited him were filled with hope and possibility, and as he lay there, cradled by the peace of the morning, he knew that Ra's blessing would guide him through the day, just as it had always done.